this video we'll be finishing off the build of the BFe Max project. So, with the wheels installed last episode, we can install the chain onto the bike. I'm going to be doing this slightly different to the standard you should use because I'm likely to upgrade the chain set in the future, which will probably come with a 32 tooth chainring, whereas this oval chainring I currently have is 30 tooth. So instead of having 2 extra links in this chain sizing, I'm going to go for 4, just like you would on a full suspension bike. So, there are a couple of methodologies for sizing a chain correctly for your mountain bike. The way I like to do it is to wrap the chain around your chainring and the biggest sprocket of the cassette, ignoring the rear derailleur. With the chain pulled tight between the two, you can count an extra 2 to 4 chain links depending on if you have a hardtail or full suspension bike to correctly size the chain for your bike. The eagle-eyed amongst you would have noticed I counted 4 links on my chain. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed I counted 4 extra links just then. This is because I'm very likely to change this chain set in the near future to one that has a 32 tooth chainring on it, so I want the 2 extra links in the system so I don't have to cut the chain once again. Obviously this is slightly suboptimal for a hardtail, but it works fine on a full suspension and the derailleur has enough ability to take up the extra slack in the chain with no issues. With the quick link fitted, we're now in a position to tune up the gears. I won't go into details about how you should tune your gears, but over on GMBN they got a great video on how to do it, so if you're looking for an instructional video, have a look over there. Moving on to the next part we need to fit some grips. I've chosen these DMR Brendog Def grips. I really enjoy these grips for a multitude of reasons. Basically, I find them really grippy and I really like the single clamp construction because I tend to ride quite far outboard on my bars. But if I choose to do a video of looking at these grips in more detail, so I'll pop a link above right now. It might not be for a few weeks, but maybe over Christmas time I'll do it if I'm running out of things to do. Yeah, I really like these grips, so let's fit them to the bike. Paying attention back to the wheels now, you may remember from the last episode that we need to add some tyre sealant to these wheels before we can get using the bike, so that's what we're going to do next. I tend to put the sealant in through the valve. I find it a cleaner way of doing it rather than opening the tyre, debeading it and pouring it in and rotating and trying to not slop it all over the floor, so I tend to pop the sealant in through the valve stem, pop the valve core out obviously. And the sealant I'm going to go for is some of this muck off pink sealant. I find it pretty good and very affordable, so that's the one I go for basically. I tend to buy it either from bike shops or Amazon. It's about 20 quid for this big bottle and you get a couple of bikes out of it or a couple of uses. I think it's a litre in there, so it's quite good value for money also. Personally, I think putting the sealant in through the valve stems is a better technique, although you do have the probability that you might clog the valve because you're passing the fluid through there. But I find it easier, you're less likely to get sealant all over the place, so there's a risk-reward type thing going on. Yeah, and the other advantage is you've already got your tyre seated from our previous process I demonstrated, so you can pump your tyre back up straight away, not having to worry about tubeless blasters and stuff like that to get your tyre seated. With the rear wheel now completed, we pay attention to the front wheel and repeat the process. I won't bore you too much, or I'll play the section and fast forward, but I think it's important to note that once you get your sealant in and the tyre back up to pressure, it's important to give the wheel a spin just to make sure you coat the whole of the tyre and the rim with sealant to seal up any small gaps you might have that might be leaking air. So one thing I found a bit annoying about the Cotic BFe Max is the routing for this dropper cable. So we have a point up here, one single hole, so we definitely need one there. We've got another bottle cage, 2 bosses there, so we need a point in the middle. And at the bottom we've got another bottle cage set of bosses, and we need a point at the rear. But with that sort of bolted down, that's taller than that, so you can't bolt a bottle cage on there without it getting all wonky. So what I need to do is I need to find a spacer to sort of lift this 5 or 10 mil clear of that boss, which is a bit rubbish because they don't come included with the frame. So that's one of the few negatives I found about this bike so far. So after a bit of hunting around my spare parts drawer, I found these spacers. I believe they're from a straight line chain guide set. So there's a 5mm spacer there, which I think would be perfect to bolt on there. I'm just hoping the bolt hole is about the right size. If not, it's going to have some drill time. Yeah, so I'm going to put this spacer on there and re-bolt it up. One point I thought I'd interject here that I didn't talk through live when I was recording this is you need to change your bolt type from a countersunk to a button head or a normal cap head type bolt for this. Otherwise you won't be able to bolt the bottle cage down correctly. So I don't think these come included with the frame if I remember correctly, so I had to find them for my spares. So another thing that's not quite good, although there is quite a few button head screws that come with the frame, but I use those in the ticks, which I'll point out to you. One of the really nice things about the BFe Max is it comes with lots of threaded fixings and fasteners all over the frame to allow you to fit a variety of accessories and bike packing shenanigan parts and stuff like that. But it does have a downside that you can't leave these threaded holes open, otherwise they're going to get contaminated and filled with crap and let water and dust inside the frame, which isn't ideal. So the bike comes with a lot of these button head fasteners, so what I'm doing at this point in time is applying a small dab of Loctite to each of them, going around the frame and then covering over the holes effectively with these fasteners. I like to carry a spare tube with me all times when I go mountain biking, and the way I choose to do that is with one of those like Velcro Enduro straps. This one here I've got from Nukeproof. It's not new to me, I've had this a little while, but it's blue and it kind of matches the bike, so I use it for now. I'm going to choose to mount it just below the seat and this sort of seat tube mast area to trap the cable quite nicely, I think, hopefully. Yeah, so I run one of these. In the future, I think I'm going to look at getting one of the bolt-on options, because if you look very carefully where the cable routing goes on the down tube, you can see there's 2 points there where you can put like a bolt-on version, I think. I don't know what the real name for it is, but yeah, bolt-on carrier type thing. I think it might look a bit better than a fabric strap wrapped around the frame, but for now this will do, and that'll be one of the upgrades I'll be looking at into in the future. One thing we must do before we start using this bike is give the chain a thorough lubrication. I like to use a lube called Squirt Lube. It's a wax-based lubricant and I find it very effective for everything but the deepest, darkest, dirtiest winter conditions. Can't recommend this stuff anymore than that, really. So yeah, that's what I'll be using. I like to, the initial lube on the chain, I like to go across the top and lower links just to make sure it's really settled in, and yeah, we get a good application basically. The eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed I also fitted some very used looking XC trail pedals. I've had these for a long time and they're great. The final thing we need to fit before taking this bike for its initial voyage is fitting this chainstay protector from Nukeproof. It's not ideal, it's far from the best quality I've ever seen in my life. I'd like to get something a lot more rubbery and permanent and resilient like you'd find on the more modern bikes, but it's not something that this bike's designed for. It's slender steel chainstay, so we use this for now and see how it goes. I'm looking at a couple of options for the future to replace this, but for now this will do. We'll see how it goes, because we also got the frame protection on there as well, remember. So with that chainstay protector fitted, let's have a look at what the bike looks like fully built up. So here it is in my study, looking a bit dark in the evening, so I took it out for a quick spin in my local area, and here we are in the evening sunlight, looking fantastic I think. Yeah, I'm really happy the way that this bike looks overall. The blue with the red and the tan wheel tyres I think looks excellent. Only thing I don't like is the blue saddle. I don't like the mismatch there, and the bar and stem really. I think it's time for an upgrade already.
Cotic BFe Max is up and running, check it out.
So thanks for watching this one guys, I'll see you in the next one. This project's far from over. We've got upgrade to the bar and stems coming very soon. In fact, they're already fitted to the bike, and hopefully in the near future we'll be upgrading the drivetrain and the brakes to something a bit more modern. So yeah, this bike is up and running, but the project's far from over. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching again. Cheers. Bye now.